Hello, everybody. This is a special edition / announcement that I'm making with my very good friend, writer, very intelligent hospitality professional, food lover, expert of all things chefs, Andrew Friedman. So this is a joint meez podcast / Andrew Talks to Chefs podcast announcement about something really cool that we're doing together.
Well, first of all, I should return the favor for my listeners who are listening to this. You're hearing the voice of Josh Sharkey. Josh is the man behind Meez. Meez is now or has been our presenting sponsor. The presence of Meez in the Andrew Talks to Chefs universe is about to become even more all-encompassing. But Josh is an old and dear friend of mine. I've known him since he was a chef and a restaurateur. And we've kind of been following each other's paths. I've been on a kind of creative writing and broadcasting path. Josh has been doing the Meez podcast, but that is an outgrowth of his hugely successful business, Meez, which, as all of my listeners know, because they've been hearing me talk about it in spots on the show for months now, is a recipe operating system. It's something that Josh created based on a need that he perceived back when he was a cook and a chef. And it's been hugely successful. And our paths now, after years of gradually coming together through your support of my show and my guesting on your show, are about to converge and become a unified path in one regard. It's your baby, so why don't you go ahead and say what it is?
Well, what I'll say, though, is that you actually came to me with this idea. And I was ruminating on something like this, but serendipitously, you called me one day and said, hey, I got this idea, which actually you tend to do every once in a while. You text me and say, I got this really crazy idea. None of them are actually as crazy as you make them out to be. But this one...
Well, this one, I didn't give any contemplation time. I was driving with my wife. I had the idea and I just called you. That's how excited I was about it. I didn't give myself any time to vet the idea in my own head.
That's right. That's right. I love that we're building this up, by the way. But the idea has now come to fruition after longer than we would have liked, to be honest with you. We wanted to get this out sooner. But Andrew and I both have a deep love of the hospitality industry, of restaurants, of food, of chefs. And we thought that we should combine that love, those interests, and all the things that we're doing into a network. So we are very excited to announce the launch of the Meez network. And it initially started with just Andrew and I's shows. I don't want to say just because, they're great shows. But we've added on a bunch of other shows as well. And we'll be adding on more and more as we grow. Some of those shows are Eric Cacciatore's restaurant Unstoppable, Brandon and Kristen's The Simmer. Brandon's the CEO of Bite, and Kristen has an incredible newsletter called Expedite. She's a food tech journalist. There's a number of other shows starting with us as well. And generally speaking, the idea here is that there's so many stories out there. There's so many tips. There's so much advice. There's so much insight. And generally, there's just an amazing community. And we wanted to centralize that in one place and make sure that you could come to one place to find all the things that you need to know, to hear about, to learn, to become better, and to generally raise the bar for all of us in this industry. And that is the Meez Media Network. So, Andrew, did I get that right?
You did. I should also add, as we're sitting here recording, one other show that is definitely officially on board for launch is Industry Only at the Cheese Store, which is an industry show out of California, relatively new show. But what I would add to what you just said, Josh, is that as everyone who consumes podcasts knows, if you go and look for, say, example, chef podcasts on, let's say, Spotify, and then you get an initial result of maybe 8 or 10 little tiles of, thumbnail images of show logos. And then if you hit see all, you get it ought to be spelled SEA instead of SEE, because you get a sea of tiles. It's impossible to process. It's largely an exercise in, like they used to say about the stock market, throwing a dart, just at a board, or trial and error, or which title might catch you. And one of the things that we hope to provide for people who start to follow the network and keep track of what we're doing, however they choose to do that. Probably a lot of people will just follow us on Instagram, and we have a website up that will feature all of these shows and how to listen to them. But, we'd like it to be a place where we've gathered shows that we have vetted that we think present something of nutritional value. These are shows that talk about the industry, discuss issues in the industry. Some of them are deadly serious. Some of them are a little more lighthearted, but they're all shows that we think are worth listening to. And one of the things that we're trying to do is, if you imagine panning for gold, like in the old days during the gold rush, we're trying to be the pan that helps you sift out the gold and not have to go around, sampling a million podcasts to find the ones that work for you. And as we add to the network, we hope to cover or offer shows that cover and address all different corners of it, from mixology to farming to, of course, restaurants and cooking, all of these different areas. So, each person may not necessarily listen to every show. Everyone's time is limited, but we believe that if you are in the industry, whatever part of it, that you will be able to find the right mix of programming to suit your educational and entertainment related needs as they connect to the industry.
There you go. I love it. Well, I'll add on to that. There'll certainly and already are shows related to food technology as well. You'll learn about operations, finance. You're going to hear from CEOs from the biggest companies, from chefs from all over the world to, like Andrew said, mixologists and everything in between, and all the things and the people that we like to talk to and talk about. So if you are one of those shows, by the way, hit us up and we'd love to learn more and bring you on the network and share your stories as well. And this is starting with podcasts, though we do have a newsletter, Kristen Holly, that will be part of this as well, Expedite. And we'll be adding on lots of mediums that tell these stories, whether that's podcasts, it could be videos, it could be newsletters, and everything in between. So we're super excited. And I'm also very grateful to be doing this with you, Andrew. So thank you for calling me in the car while driving with your wife. Hopefully you were hands-free when you were doing that, but you survived anyways. So you're here.
I was, and thank you for, jumping right into it and being so receptive to it. I'm incredibly excited that what started in that spontaneous 5-minute phone chat is coming to fruition. I really think people are going to get a lot out of it. I think we feel a real need for people out there to find the shows and other content that will benefit them the most and be the best use of their limited time that they have to consume a word that I hate, which is content. But, everyone only has X number of hours in a week. And I think we're going to make it easy for them to find stuff that's worth consuming.
Yep. By the way, you started writing again, the blogs. I think you should put that on there as well, just as a side.
I don't know how many people remember, but before I started podcasting 7 years ago, I had a blog called Tokeland. And I just this week started posting again. For now, I'm posting every Monday with kind of a grab bag of ideas called the comment card of just observations about what's going on in the industry. And you're right, Josh, that'll be our first written content.
Throw it on there. All right, y'all. Well, I'm super excited. I hope everybody else is. And Andrew, thank you again for bringing this to life with me. And let's go build a network.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. And we should say, check our show descriptions for a link to the Meez Network website, where you can find out a little bit more about us, a little bit more about Meez, and see the initial roster of shows.
Boom. All right. Bye, everybody.